Hi, good day guys. Welcome back to my channel at Undiluted African. And thank you for sharing. Continue to share. Please subscribe and leave a comment below to share your thought. I'd like to share some few disclaimer, and I would say I want us to understand beforehand that this channel is just focused on igniting consciousness. It's not basically about the formal dissemination of information. No, it's more of just, you know, casual activism. Some do theirs through comedy, but I chose to take the path of putting out some vital information that is thought provoking, that would awaken people's mind and thought. And like I said, this channel will be addressing several topics, several issues. And the main issue basically is about the development of Africa. That's the worrisome problem. That why exactly is Africa behind? Why is Africa lagging behind? And every other continent are they're booming, they're growing. Why is Africa still behind? Why is Africa just, you know, the same way it is? And from, like I said, from a professional standpoint, there are certain things that people are not looking at. People are looking at, oh, the government, the this, the that. Yeah, you're all right. There's this dilapidated system, social, economic, and political system in Africa that runs through Africa, and it leaves many Africans clueless. Like, virtually most leaders in Africa are clueless of exactly what's going on. And if you ask a professional like me that why is that going on, I would definitely tell you that it's because the structure with which they are standing on is based on the benefit of something. Yes, the structure with which the African governance, socio-economic and political governance is standing on is based on the benefit of something else. And what is the something else? And that is the imperial benefit. And with imperial benefit, it is structured to benefit only the colonial masters. And that is one thing I want us to understand. Every problem, every other problem that's going on in Africa is all standing right on this foundation of the structured violence. And by violence, I don't mean the physical violence, because professionally and looking at Gautong, which not many of us understand what Gautong is, he identified the three types of violence. He said there's the cultural violence, there's the direct violence, which is the physical violence, and there's the structured violence. And Africa has gone through those three violence because slave trade identifies the structure as direct violence, while cultural violence is the infiltration of our culture, which I'm an example of. So sad, but that's the reality. But the third violence I'm willing to just talk a little bit about now is the structured violence. In my next video, I shall be talking about that more deeply. And by structured violence, I'm talking about the educational system that was given to Africa. After the Second World War in 1945, every African and every colony were fighting for independence, and the West knew the fact that they needed time to recuperate from the loss of the Second World War. So they dished out political independence. And that political independence is plagued with what I call quasi-sovereignty. Quasi-sovereignty is just like, yeah, not really sovereign. Let them feel they're sovereign. But Africans don't really understand how that works. And if you look at the mechanism that took place, for example, looking at Nigeria, in the 1960s, the dollar was lower than the Nigerian currency. You can imagine. But as time went on, when it got to the 80s, there were several programs that were put in place to do what? To diminish the naira and affect the economy through some economic assassin, which in future we'll be talking about. But right now, I want to talk about the educational system. I don't know if many Africans I don't know many of my subscribers who have the experience of having a degree back in Africa and coming down to the West to study or practice whatever profession. if you notice, you are subjected to taking an additional course or having to start all over. I know some who have to start all over even after having a PhD back in Africa, which they defended here in America. But the most interesting part is what they are trying to tell us indirectly is the fact that we gave Africa a half-baked education, an education based on colonial mentality of providing information, of understanding information, of passing information from one generation to another. The tools needed to educate the mind and the soul and to build development is residing in policy. And through how do we get to this policy? It's through understanding the society and transforming the information we have into policies through research, methodologies, and all that. And that tools is missing in every African institution, which is generally agreed by notable African scholars that methodology is a missing part of the African education, which is so sad. And me being a product of a prestigious university in Africa, I do attest to that. And I've spoken to so many African elites down here that are making waves and publishers and scholars, notable scholars. They've also attested to the fact that that's a collective problem. And we have professors Western professors that leave the West and go down to Africa, like the Kofi Annan University, to teach methodology, and this is a worrisome factor. And this has a lot to say about the educational system in Africa, because we can make policy, and if you can make policy, you can grow. You can grow. And that leaves us and ignites the question, what exactly is the essence of Commonwealth? What exactly is the essence of ECOWAS? What's the foundation? What's the goal? Do you think if we restructure the educational system in Africa, do you think we would definitely have a path or a clear path towards development? Kindly share your thoughts and let's see what you think, and it could be a possible discussion and definitely a discussion for my next video. Continue to subscribe, like, and share. Thank you.